Welcome back then, you FM legends. We're back at it at Football Manager 2026. To be honest, despite the reviews, I am really enjoying myself in this game. Yes, it does have its issues, but you can get past them, and when you actually get into it and play your career and get on with playing your games, the UI is a little bit annoying sometimes, too many clicks and so forth, but let's get past that. I think the match engine is really good. I do enjoy it. But let's get into my save with Wolves. I did put a community poll out there on my socials and Wolves won it. That's the reason why we're Wolves, that's why we're starting here. But also a great choice from my subscribers, really, on the basis that Wolves are really struggling in the Premier League. So it's a really good place to start for us to see if we can make it a bit better for them, because they are massively struggling this year in the Premier League. Don't know how you guys play Football Manager, but the first thing I do is go into the club, have a quick look at the staff. If they have got an assistant manager, I get rid of them, and I like to bring in my own man as we start our journey in our new career. And our man is the legend, 49-year-old Patrick Kluivert, who's going to be our assistant manager with us at Wolves. And then the next thing I do when I look at the club is I go through the squad and see who do I not want to keep around, who could I possibly make some money on. Couldn't sell Jose Sa, but I decided I didn't want to keep him on the basis that I had Johnson, and they're both on significant amount of money at Wolves. So I decided that I would loan Jose Sa. He's gone to Braga. They do have an option to buy him, so we've moved him on. Santiago Bueno left 14.25 million to Fiorentina. We made £12 million on Javier. He went to Brentford. Yerson Mosquera left. He went to Crystal Palace for £13.5 million. Hwang also left. He wasn't going to start for me, and again he's on big money, so I thought I'd rather get him out the club. So he's joined Sturm Graz on loan with an option for them to buy. And to replace Andre, it was Shea Charles I decided to bring in. He came in from Southampton for £22 million, and at 21 years old he's got very good mentals as well as technical ability as a defensive midfielder. I think he's going to really grow and be at Wolves for a very long time. Ismail Decore came in from Strasbourg, £16 million. Again, very pleased with this. Can play in defensive midfield if we need cover for Shea Charles. Can also do the centre-back and right-back job. He's only 22 as well. Really looking at these youngsters as we can hopefully grow this Wolves team over the next few years and build a fantastic side. And while we're at Southampton, we have a little scout of Jay Robinson. Very young, 18 years old, looks like he's got bags of potential, and when I noticed that they only wanted £16 million for him, I felt like that was a good investment for us and would be a very good squad player. While doing our scouting, we were really looking for those wingers with pace, and I saw this man, Loriente. He was at Sassuolo, and I managed to pick him up for just £12 million. And on our pursuit of young, fast, pacey wingers, we saw this man, Matias Fernandez Pardo, bit of a mouthful. He came from Lille, only 20 years old, cost me £18.5 million. He's absolutely rapid, 15 finishing. He looks like he's definitely going to be one for the future. And the 19-year-old Brazilian, Rayan, was someone my scouts absolutely loved. They really wanted me to pick up this guy. He doesn't have the blistering pace, but he's not slow by any means. And at 19 years old, I'm sure that will push right on. Hasn't really bothered him, as you can probably see from the bottom here. He's already scored 4 goals and got 4 assists in 7 Premier League appearances. He's a bit of a beast, this lad. Definitely one to look out for if you've not signed him. And finally, the last signing, £21 million from Köln in Germany, was 19-year-old Said El Mala. Absolute bargain, this lad. He's very versatile, 6'2", and he looks like he's got absolutely bags of potential, especially according to my scouts. They think he's definitely one for the future, really good dribbling, and a great addition to the squad. So it is fair to say that Football Manager does have a fair few issues, one of which being the way I edit the videos usually is I would play the games, and instead of recording everything I do, I would then go in afterwards and replay the highlights of the goals, do a bit of a talk over it as I'm showing you how we've progressed through the season. Unfortunately, I can't do that because none of the replays will actually load. You can just hear it happening in the background. It just sits spinning saying that the game's playing, so I can't do that. Also, I didn't notice while I was playing the game, despite making saves along the way as I was going, there was an automatic option on there, and the game was automatically saving over my save progresses as I was going. So very annoying. So at various points where I've saved, it hasn't done it because it's just saved the most recent one, so very annoying. But we are where we are. I can show you this stage. We're 20 games in and we are top of the Premier League. We've only lost 3 games, we've drawn 4, won 13 games. We scored 38 goals, conceded 17 with a plus 21 goal difference, and we're in what looks to be a title race with Wolves in the first season. Absolutely insane start. So I've now moved myself over to the other side so you can see. We're going to have to do it this way, unfortunately, but here we are, first game of the season. I thought, well, we've had a really good pre-season, but we've got to play Manchester City on the opening day of the season. Probably going to get battered. Didn't work out like that. We ended up being 2-0 up. Rayan and Phil Lopez with the goals. We then got brought down to earth a bit with an away performance against Bournemouth. I think we played really well in this game, but we just couldn't score and managed to get that 92nd minute equaliser at the end. We went on to play West Brom in the Carabao Cup, beating them 5-2. We then lost 3-1 at home to Everton, but we then kept picking up points away at Newcastle, Grimsby in the Carabao Cup, Leeds United, and a 1-0 win against Spurs. We then started October with a 1-0 loss against Brighton, but we bounced straight back with a 5-0 win against Sunderland. Granit Xhaka did get sent off in that game, but we were already 3-0 up at that point. We beat Burnley 4-2, and then we got brought down to earth in the FA Cup as Manchester City went absolutely mental on us and beat us 5-1. But it didn't help that Pardo got himself sent off, which I think was in the second minute. So we're back up against the walls in that game. In November, we lost 2-0 to Fulham. We got a great win against Chelsea, a draw against Crystal Palace, and a draw against Aston Villa. And then it really started to kick on in December. I think I was starting to know who my best players were, who was having the best form of the season, and also those little tactical tweaks in the tactic as we were really starting to understand the game now. We started off really well, 1-0 win against Nottingham Forest. We then beat Manchester United 3-0 at home. We got a 1-1 draw against Arsenal, almost won that game, but scored in the 89th minute, and then Gyökeres equalised 1 minute later. A 4-1 win against Brentford. We then beat Liverpool at Anfield, Strand Larsen getting that goal, and then we beat Manchester United again, 4-0 this time at Old Trafford. Then as we've gone into January, the fun continues really. We've been on a great run, and this is 2-0 win against West Ham Said El Mala with both goals. And again, at this point, I'd already completed the first full season, and I ended up with just 2 save points because it kept saving over my places, so I do apologise about that. Now I know what's going on, I should be able to correct that going forward. But anyway, January, continued really well. We then beat Everton 1-0. We knocked out Sheffield United of the FA Cup on penalties. Beat Newcastle 2-1 and had a really strong performance against Manchester City, but unfortunately lost 3-2. And then we finished off January with a 3-0 win against Bournemouth. In February we started that off with a 2-2 draw against Chelsea, but then lost 1-0 to Nottingham Forest. We beat AFC Wimbledon 3-0, and we lost again to Crystal Palace. I believe that's the second time this year, 3-2. But we finished off the month with a 3-2 win against Aston Villa. Started off March really well. We're beating Liverpool again, this time 4-1 at home, and eventually winning the game against Norwich in extra time with Joe Bellingham scoring in the 116th minute. But then Brentford beat us 3-1 to round off March. We were unbeaten in April, an absolute massive month for us as the season's coming to a close now. Getting into those vital points of the season, this was crucial for us, and we did beat Liverpool 4-2 in the FA Cup. We then beat West Ham 3-2 away, beat Leeds 1-0, which was a very tough game. Always tough, these ones, when you're coming up against the teams that are fighting relegation towards the end of the season. It doesn't really matter how they've done all year, they always put up an absolute battle against you. We then beat Arsenal, which at that point I think Arsenal could have started to run away with the league if we hadn't have at least got a draw out of that. So that was huge. And we beat Derby County in the FA Cup 2-1. Then we get into the final month of the season, and there it is. We beat Sunderland 2-1. We lost 2-0 to Spurs. We won 3-2 against Brighton, and then we lost 3-2 against Fulham. We did get to the FA Cup final, but unfortunately Arsenal were just too strong for us this time, and we lost that 2-0. And on the last day of the season, we rounded off the season with a huge 4-0 win away at Burnley. So there it is then. We have won the Premier League in the first season with Wolves. It was a crazy season because basically all of the big teams were just beating each other all the way through the season, as you can see. Lots of draws as well. Not even just the big teams really. Everyone was starting to pick up points. Everyone was dropping points, and we just managed to do enough in the end. We've won it on 77 points. Isn't the most points you've ever seen to have to win the Premier League, but also I did some checks, it isn't the lowest either. I believe that was Manchester United back in, was it like 92 or something, with 75 points. So we've done really good. This is a Wolves side. We've bought a lot of young players just trying to progress and hope we're going to build for the future. But as we've gone through the season, I've kept tweaking the tactic. We've managed to win the Premier League. I think it's an absolutely massive achievement, you know, even to get Wolves anywhere from not in a relegation fight is a big achievement. But yeah, we're right up there. We've done it. We've won the Premier League. We also got to the FA Cup final. We got to the semi-final of the Carabao Cup. They've had a brilliant season. But just before we get into season 2, I'd better show you the transfers that actually helped us lift the Premier League title, because I forgot to show you them from what we made in January. So we did sign Ethan Nwaneri. He came in on loan from Arsenal. He was on the loan at the beginning of the game, didn't want to come, but we did manage to get him in January to come and help us with that title push. And he did really well for us, and also had an option to buy for £65 million. We also signed Takehiro Tomiyasu after he recovered from his injury and he was available on a free transfer. Junior Krupi came in for £11.5 million from Bournemouth. He wasn't getting game time there, probably isn't going to start for me to be honest, but for £11.5 million and at 20 years old, definitely one for the future. We also signed this French young 21-year-old, can play centre-back or left-back. Belocian, I believe is how you pronounce his name. He was like £3.4 million. He wasn't getting any game time at his club, and I loved his versatility, so I brought him in. We got Joe Bellingham on loan from Borussia Dortmund, and we also brought in Ruben Neves, who was on a free for some time, but still wanted those Saudi wages. He eventually didn't want them, and I thought I'd bring him back to Wolves, especially because he only wanted 38 grand a week. So we'll quickly run through the transfers I made in the pre-season. We did activate Ethan Nwaneri, brought him in for £65 million, he got that. This man, Kresic, was already at the club on loan, and he's got a transfer already going through in the future, so he joins for £20 million. We also managed to get Joe Bellingham, who was on loan with us last year from January onwards, £7.5 million, which is an absolute bargain, good squad player. Valentin Carboni came in from Inter Milan on a free transfer. We upgraded our goalkeeper and brought in Noah Atabulo. He came in for 16.5. And similar to the Nwaneri deal we managed to pull off last year, we this year have gone for Christian Mosquera. He's obviously not getting much game time at Arsenal because their defence is ridiculous. And we managed to bring him in on loan for the season. Doesn't want to join just yet, but I'm sure if we play him enough, we can activate him in the summer, or whenever we want really, as soon as he's happy, for £60 million. And the final signing was, again, thinking for the future, and Chido Obi at Manchester United was available for £8 million. He's probably going to go out on loan, but for £8 million, I think he's definitely worth the risk. And you should be able to see the outgoings at the bottom here. Totti went for £13.5 million to Braga, I think that is. Bellegarde left out on loan. Pedro Lima, very good young right back, quickly show you him. Again, I thought he's only 20, let's give him another year. He's gone to Brentford, who got relegated. He's in the Championship now. few young lads left. Jose Sarr went to Burnley for £17 million, which is very, very good for a 33-year-old goalkeeper, and he was on about 70 grand a week for us. And I've loaned out the big man Akradare because he just didn't do anything for me. Couldn't sell him either. I think Cremonese have a deal that they can buy him for £12 million, but it's only optional, so it probably won't happen. And to quickly show you the tactic, I'll probably do a separate video going through all the details to not keep dragging this out any longer. But this is the tactic of how we set up and the basis of what it is. Usually we would have Wanyeri probably starting instead of Ryan, but he's out injured at the moment. And then we've brought Mascara in at centre-back, so he's likely to drop in there. But that's how we look in possession, and out of possession we drop into to this shape. We won all of our games in pre-season, and then the final pre-season friendly, shall we say, or cup competition is it? Well, it's a cup competition when you win it, and we beat Arsenal 1-0. It was that man Matias Fernandez Pardo with the goal, and we did really well because 10 minutes later Tomiyasu got sent off against his former club and made it very difficult for us, but we did hold on and did very well to secure the Community Shield. Before the transfer window closed, I was looking for that attacking creativity in midfield for us, and to pick up Lucas Bergvall for only £45 million, I'm not sure why Spurs were prepared to let him go for that fee, but that is an absolute bargain. And then in January we made some more additions. We managed to get Kushinov on loan from Manchester City to just help us out because we're getting a lot of injuries. And we brought in John Duran as well for a period. He didn't actually play that many games for me, which caused him to be recalled, but he was quite good when he came off the bench. And again in January, just trying to strengthen, we were doing really well, which you'll see in a moment, but we wanted to get a bit of better depth of quality in there, and he's very versatile. He can play in pretty much every role that I have in midfield, so I was really pleased to bring him in. And when I saw in January he had a minimum fee release clause after the scout report came through of just £26 million, that was one that I was not going to not activate. And then Boloshian, as I think he did his ACL or broke his leg. He was out for a long time anyway, so I needed some depth at left back. Started getting those scout reports going, and then this man came back, Saber Karabashvili. Oh my god, he's 18 years old. Look how good he looks, and I managed to pick him up from his club for £3 million. And then in terms of the outgoings, Loriente had a really good season for us last year, but he has left. He's gone out on loan with an option to buy to Villarreal. And unfortunately, the Saudis came in for Ryan. I didn't want to sell him, but they came in, and I presume all of these players, once they know they're going to get offered these amounts of money, like he's on 400 grand a week. I can't even get close to that. Not even half of it. They came in for him. I rejected the initial bid. He got upset, so then I usually just agree the fee with them then of what I'll accept going forward. And he's left for, I believe it's £55 million, and that can rise as well again with add-ons. I think it goes up to about 65 in total. And Sam Johnson started getting unhappy because he was no longer the first choice goalkeeper, and he went to Sassuolo on loan with an option to buy. But this is how it looked in Season 2. We absolutely continued to progress with Wolves. I really wanted to do 2 seasons. I was quite shocked, obviously, when I won the Premier League in the first season. But in the second season, I thought, let's do that to see if it's not a fluke, really. Is this tactic good? Have we built a really good squad with Wolves? And it very much looks that way. Because after 33 games, not quite done yet, but we've won 21, drawn 8, lost just 4. We've scored 63 goals, conceded just 24 with a goal difference of plus 39, and we're on 71 points after 33 games. And again, it's a very, very tough, challenging top half of the table because everybody has got a really good team in the Premier League and they're beating everyone. And if we just have a quick look at how the squad's got on, like Tomiyasu, 8 assists from right back. The centre backs have picked up a few goals. Like I've got Agbadu and Krajic. They're the 2 centre backs that I had from the beginning of the game. Karabashvili's come in. Got a couple from left back. Obviously we have to rotate a lot with the amount of games. We've got Kushinov and Mascara. The four centre backs sort of rotate between themselves. Them two are a really good pair together. Mosquera and Kushanov as well have done really well. As you can see, look at their average ratings. They're all about the same. They're all about 7. So they've equally done well. Wolfer had a reasonable season. Doesn't always start. Sometimes we need to be a bit more defensive. He's a little bit more attacking. Decore hasn't played as much this year. He's spent a lot of time out injured. But if you have a look again here, Lucas Bergvall, 11 goals, 13 assists from that advanced playmaker position in centre midfield. Ethan Wanyeri has got 11 goals and 15 assists in all competitions. Matías Fernandez Pardo, he's just an absolute beast. 29 goals in all competitions, 5 assists. Oh, and I forgot, we also brought in Thomas Chori because Duran got recalled because he wasn't playing enough. He was going to be out of contract in the summer, but I bought him £3 million, I believe it was. I'll just quickly check that for you. Let's have a look. Is it 3? 3.4. £3.4 million. Big 6'6" centre forward. He was 31 at the time when I bought him, but he's pretty quick. He's got 14 pace. He's not really slow, and I play a target forward, and his natural fitness is 16, so he should last for probably a good couple of years. Then you've got Sadel Mallory. He's got 12 goals, 5 assists. Strand Larsson's got 10 goals, 7 assists. Just across the team have done really well, really good balance. And in the Carabao Cup, we gave it a really good run. We got to the semi-final. It was Arsenal that beat us. It was on penalties in the end. We did really well to get as far as that again. That's twice in a row semi-finals of the Carabao Cup. And in the Champions League, we did really well. We managed to get through the group phase, which half the time I didn't even put my strongest team out. I think even in real life, I think the Champions League phase is a bit of a farce because you don't really need to. Sorry, last year with PSG, they didn't really give it a full go, did they, in the league phase? And it's not really when it matters. Most teams will qualify out of that, and we did. We won 4, drew 2, and lost 2, which took us through to the knockout rounds. We then knocked out Feyenoord. That was pretty easy. What was that? 7-2 over 2 legs. And then we got to the round of 16, and then we drew Barcelona. I thought, oh, well, this is a run over, we're out. But no, I should have believed in my side because they were absolutely unbelievable, and we did beat Barcelona 3-1 at home. Bergvall getting 2, and that man Fernandez Pardo. And I was fully expecting to just get absolutely hammered 5-0 or something and it'd be over and done with. But it was a 4-3 thriller at the Nou Camp, and we managed to knock out Barcelona. Then you're just thinking, can I get a lucky draw? Well, no, they're not going to make it easy for us. They're really testing this world side. And then we got Paris Saint-Germain. And again, thought I was going to be out. Beat them 2-0. Mariba and the big man Thomas Chori with the goal. And then it was the away leg. We managed to get a draw with Paris Saint-Germain. Played really, really well once again. And we are through to the semi-finals of the Champions League, where I believe we have Marseille. We do have the easier draw in the semi-final, and the other semi-final is Real Madrid versus Tottenham Hotspur. And once again, we went on to go back-to-back in the Premier League with Wolves winning the league once again. 24 wins, 9 draws, 5 losses. We scored 72 goals, conceded just 28, 44 goal difference and 81 points. It did come down to the last game of the season, and we just needed to do our job, which we did. We did our job, but Liverpool, it would have come down to goal difference, to be really honest with you. I think it was, because Liverpool ended up drawing on the last day of the season 1-1 with Aston Villa. We saw off Marseille no problem. I was very confident about this one. Obviously Marseille have done very well in the competition, but I felt we were much stronger than them, and we were having a brilliant season in the Premier League. We managed to beat them 3-1 at home, and we were also down to 10 men after 28 minutes due to a Mosquera red card. And in the away leg we picked up a 1-0 win. Sadel Mallet taking us through to Wolves' first ever Champions League final. The other semi-final saw Spurs pick up a 1-0 win against Real Madrid. And the second leg finished 0-0 between Spurs and Real Madrid, meaning it would be Spurs that we face in the Champions League final. And after an outstanding performance from the team, we absolutely dominated Spurs. The fact this game finished 2-0 was embarrassing, really. We had so many chances, but it was that man, Sado Mala, from the penalty spot, and Lucas Bergvall likes to write stories for you, does Football Manager. He scored against his old club and saw us lift the Champions League trophy. So finally, I'd like to thank you all for watching. This has been a brilliant journey with this Wolves side. Like the title says, we completely shocked the world, not once, not twice, but 3 times with this Wolves team. I didn't just do it once, I decided to go and try and win the Premier League again for a second time, and I did manage to do it. I think that is a really big achievement, so if you could do me a favour, press those like buttons, get that done. Subscribe to my channel to help me grow this channel, that would be absolutely fantastic. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.